it is unfortunately up to us to create the space that we want. And we cannot wait for someone else to do it for us.
The way people are educated about history is kind of wrong, because, you know, the story is being told by the hunter and not the lion who was, you know, hunted. I feel like we have to be very strategic in how we address this issue of racism. If you want to like be specific about what systemic racism is, those are things that Marsha mentioned, like, you know, even in terms of the way people are educated about history is kind of wrong, because, you know, the story is being told by the hunter and not the lion who was, you know, hunted. You know, so somehow they subdue Black history because, one, they don't want us to know the truth. Two, they don't want like succeeding generation of white people to know what happened, lest they paint their preceding generations as being wicked. In the entertainment industry, you have Black stories being told by a white person. And I don't know how you would tell me, you know, how you would think the way I felt when you mistreat me. I'm not sure how you can understand that. So yeah.
What is happening in America is not even new. You can look back on history, Emmett Till, all of those persons. The way the conversation about relationship between white policemen, or even not even white police, because I've seen my own people accosting and mistreating their own Blacks. The way the relationship between the police and the civilians, conversations around that, reforms around that, there needs to be a lot of changes. Because if I'm a person and as soon as I see the police, my heart is racing quickly. So it's beating extremely fast when I see a police, then something is wrong. So we need to change, not only, I think once you make some changes or reforms within the police force and give them certain training, I feel like a lot of policemen and soldiers, even in my country, have a lot of mental issues, and they should do thorough assessments before they admit those persons in their police academies, because it makes no sense you have a person who has traumas or whatever, anger issues or whatnot, serving people. They can't serve people if they're ill. So they need to do some pre-screening, history, family background, whatever, to find out before they put these persons in power. Because some persons, the power is in their weapon.
When we're talking about educated Black people who probably have more privilege to be able to actually make change, we are very aware. I think in terms of creating a solution for that, one, I don't think that every Black person is called to every sector. So I think it's important for you to be true to yourself as a Black person and know what sector you're called to. So if it's immigration and that's what you're passionate about, then do that. If it is education like Marsha, then do that. If it is something else like economics, then do that. And recognizing that it is, one, not necessarily your job, but the fact that you are in these sectors, that one, recognizing that it's a privilege, right? So there are people that are in my country, that are in Marsha's country, that are in your home country, that did not have the opportunity. So being diligent and intentional about the way that you do what you do, right, is essential. And I don't mean work 10 times harder than a white person. I mean, work hard because you want to create avenues and invest and save and create Black wealth and empowerment and create Black businesses that will allow you to foster, unfortunately, a system that may be against you, but may allow you to foster educating other Black people. So for me, the way that I guess decide to approach change is in a more personal way. When I was in college, I had the opportunity to go to a great college, maybe due to affirmative action. I do not know. They never told me in my acceptance letter. But while I was in college and I got scholarships and all these other things, I facilitated an education of a Black girl that was in Ghana when I went to Ghana, and I saw that she didn't finish high school and she was 20. So I paid for her to go to high school. So that's what I'm saying. We can all say a lot of things about what these issues are, but when it gets right down to you making a personal sacrifice of your time, of bartering your information and your education. So you're good in economics. How do you educate other Black men? How do you educate other Black women so that they know how to go about economics, so that they know how to go about a budget, so that they know how to go about investing. You're good in education. How do you create spaces where you create safe spaces for children that you know in our community may not have them? Create spaces where you educate them on Black history. Like, it is unfortunately up to us to create the space that we want. And we cannot wait for someone else to do it for us. And so what I'm finding, though, is that the conversation is being lost because nobody wants to make that long-term sacrifice. And that is what is necessary. If I want Black women to be empowered, then I create and I found an organization that does that. And I don't do it for 3 weeks. You know what I mean? I do it for the rest of my life because it's important to me. If I care about Black women being in STEM, then every presentation that I make it a habit to make people uncomfortable in the room, and I talk about it. Yeah. And the question may be, the last question of my presentation may be, when was the last time you saw a Black woman giving a presentation? That's it. I don't need to ask. I don't need to have a long conversation. Right? You just make them uncomfortable. Yeah. So I think it's really up to us to make the decision. My mother had me when she was 23. Ari knows the whole process of that and how hard it was for me. And now at 25, I'm in the process of getting my master's degree, and I made my first investment as of 2 days ago. Nice. I'm doing the work. We don't want to do the work for our community. We have to be willing to do the work.
I believe that the first step towards solving a problem is addressing or admitting that a problem actually exists. Yeah. And I also feel like the essence of this video is, I'm sure it's going to go live on some level. Mm-hmm. And I just want every Black person watching it to realize that where they are, they can do something about systemic racism. Mm-hmm. We are like in school. There are people who work for immigration offices. I don't know who they are, but I'm hoping that they get to see this video. There are Black people who want to join the police force. These are the kind of videos I want them to see, to know that the onus is on you to do something about what's going on. Don't go there and turn a blind eye. I'm also a faculty in the University of Nigeria. I've been teaching for the past 5 years. And believe you me, Arinze also knows I've gotten like corporate jobs with like, fantastic incentives. I refused to take those jobs because I felt like one of the problems that we need to do in Africa is educate, the teeming population that is, coming up. That's one. Two is, I'm very good with scholarship somehow. I know how the system works. And last week I had a seminar on a group called Scholarship Enthusiasts, which is made up of, Africans and people of, the Caribbean and all of that. And what I do is I teach them how to get this scholarship. on a personal level, I'm doing my bit. But what I was saying initially is so that wherever anybody who is watching this video will realize that even if you are on the continent, you have a role to play. The only way we can get ourselves out of this box is by putting in more work than any other person. That way, nobody can take away what belongs to you.
I think like this conversation is very interesting, and it's even nice to talk about this thing and we talk about it again. But one thing I see is, if I understand what everyone is saying, I would summarize it as saying this has to be like a very big deal. Like, just think of COVID-19. Every single time I turn on the TV, I'm like, COVID-19. I'm like, okay, chill, bro. But like, we have to have that kind of approach also to racism. Like, this is like real life. It's been happening for like the last how many years? Like, it has to be something that we all... Last
how many years? 400, 500,
1,000 years, I guess. But like, it has to be something we kind of rally around as a society, to be honest. Like, let's treat it as a pandemic, because it is a pandemic. And I'm hoping this kind of conversations kind of help us understand what we have to do to try to fix the problem. And and I hope it yields very, very good results.
I strongly believe, and I'm seeing this in so many pastor platforms, that it's annoying. By Black pastors, by white pastors, everyone's talking about racial reconciliation. And I'm not against racial reconciliation, but I'm going to say it to y'all the same way I said it to my other friends. The reality is, you cannot be reconciled unless you acknowledge, like you said earlier, Ekene. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
You cannot be reconciled unless you acknowledge the disparities, unless you look at it. You have to. If you do not confront, you cannot transform. You have to confront first before you can expect any form of transformation. So that's within any sphere that you find yourself in as a Black person. That's just the truth of the thing. So in the church, there needs to be a confrontation. There needs to be a sitting in the discomfort of what we are finding, the information that we are seeing. And then after that, we can talk about reconciliation. And it goes both ways. I do think that, of course, we need to address things as it relates to Black people, as it relates to white people, because we can't act like we don't have prejudices toward them. We do. We had 500 years and reasons to have prejudices toward them.
I mean, thank you to everyone. Like, this is amazing. And like we all said, I think it's going to be like all hands on deck. Make it a systemic conversation. Like, it has to be, like, this is a pandemic and we have to take it as serious as we took like COVID-19. And look at the results, right, we have from COVID-19. This should be like the same kind of approach from every single person. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you, Ekene. I know everyone is busy and we just popped in today. Like, that's amazing. Thank you, Marsha Lawrence. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. And I'm just going to drop like everyone's social media and business handle. Just follow every single person. They're like really amazing and they have amazing content. And these are like Black excellent people, right? So support the hustle. If you want to join this kind of conversation, this is like super Convos, and we really are all volunteers, just sharing our ideas and just trying to make our society better. So if you want to jump on this anytime, if you want to talk about something, just let us know. You can send like a DM to us or just send a message, and we're always happy to have people on board. So thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.